Hey folks, Ryan Graden here with Midwest Whitetails and Outreach Outdoors, and I'm about to head into the timber just to spend a little bit of time doing some scouting in preparation for the late muzzleloader season. Right now, in our neck of the woods, we're actually between the first shotgun season and the second shotgun season. But I need to get out in the timber to kind of gather some information, and the reason why I'm doing it now is we just got a fresh blanket of snow about 36 hours ago here on the property that I hunt. And so the signs that I see in that snow are going to tell me a lot about the deer movement and what's happening now. I'm also going to be checking some trail cameras, hanging some new trail cameras up, just to see what happens over the next couple weeks. But I got to realize too that the deer movement may not be what it normally is. And what I mean by that is these deer seasons, these shotgun seasons, a lot of the locals will form parties and do deer drives. And so the deer movement that you might be seeing is not just normal routine movement, it's pressured movement. But nonetheless, it's a good idea to get some cameras up, see what animals are still in the area, see what animals survived the shotgun season, and maybe even see what animals are following some sort of pattern that I might be able to take advantage of in the late muzzleloader season. So, we've had a good bow season this year, good youth season. All my daughters harvested deer. I have one daughter that's actually out of the youth season. She'll be hunting late muzzleloader with me. But now it's time to switch gears, get into the late season and see what's out there. So take you along with me. We'll go in the woods, see what we're seeing. Hopefully we can put together a plan that we will use come late muzzleloader season.
Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cuddyback, Drake Non-Typical, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Wasp Archery, and Realtree.
A couple things I'm looking for in the snow. Obviously I'm looking for tracks. I want to see what the travel patterns are of the deer that are using these timbers. You know, are the deer coming out in certain spots or going back in the timber in certain spots? The other thing I'm looking for is just the intensity of a track or a trail. You know, are they using this trail over and over again? Today, the weather's supposed to get to about 43, so this snow is going to be gone. And that's a beautiful advantage of snow, is it tells you a lot of the story that's happening around. So I'm going to get in the timber before all the snow melts, see what's happening, hopefully catch an idea of the travel patterns of these deer, hang up a few of my trail cameras, and just see what's happening over the next couple weeks. If you're hunting places with tall grass or CRP too, that's a great opportunity for you to track and trail travel patterns. So right here you can see behind me, these deer are using this. You can obviously see the tracks, but you can see the break in the weeds here too. So we know that they're coming right through here. Really good sign right here. And this just happens to be the outer ridge of a big valley. Good bedding area back there. And with luck, we have a stand right here in the tree set up for right here. So making the rounds here, and as you just see, there's about 3 or 4 does bedded back here just off the edge of our food plot. So I'm not going to do much here, but we planted this late fall food plot excuse me, in the tail end of August, and just without the snow on it, it's kept deer attracted to it. There's still a little bit of greenery in there, so you can see those deer are bedding close. They're probably just laying right there all day, coming out and grazing in the evening. So, but yeah, seeing deer like that, that's always a good sign when you're out here kind of scouting for late season muzzleloader. So we'll back out of this area, leave them alone, go to another area. Another key place to find tracks, trails, or corridors for traveling is road beds. You can see that I'm walking down an old one here, and the deer are using it like crazy. It's in the middle of a CRP field. So again, late season, I'm going to key into this area. We've got a food plot back here. We've got a blind. Everything looks like it's in a good spot now that I see the tracks and trails. So we're going to keep everything where it's at, see what we can find, and let the tracks and the trails tell the story, and hopefully we can put that story together for a successful harvest this late season. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. We've been out in the timber a little over an hour and seen a lot of good signs, seen some deer, food plots, checked the food plots, all are being used, seeing good tracks coming in and out. Unfortunately, the snow is melting and we're seeing less and less tracks. It's just getting warm enough. So what I'm going to do is take all those trail camera pictures that I retrieved today, probably come back in a week or so, grab the new ones that will be ready for me about that time, and put all those pieces of that puzzle together so that I can form a plan for my daughter and I during the late season muzzleloader. So I would encourage you guys, if you still have time before the late season muzzleloader, get out, see what's happening in the area that you're going to hunt, and put it all together. Please be careful. You know, the shotgun seasons are still happening. So, you know, if you're out in the timber, I would suggest you wear orange. Just be very cautious. But season's not over yet. You know, it's kind of the fourth quarter. If you've got a buck that you've been chasing or any of your hit listers, don't give up. Hunt till the last hour. Use all that vital information and come up with a plan. They'll put you in the right spot to make a harvest. Well, good luck with that. This is Ryan Graden with Midwest Whitetails and Outreach Outdoors.
Hey everybody, welcome to Midwest Whitetail with Outreach Outdoors. Since it's shotgun season, not able to get out and hunt this week, but next week I'm really excited about Monday and getting to hunt over these beans. I want to tell you a couple different reasons why this is such a good area for deer rather than just, hey, we planted beans there. We did some things to the area that I think enhanced the area and made it better to make it a perfect spot for beans in this area, or corn like we had last year. Secondly, I want to kind of talk to you about the way that we enter into the stand and why that we feel like that's so important to us. And then thirdly, I want to talk to you about a couple of deer that are showing up on this food plot this late season, or that I actually hope show up. And just a couple that I hope make it through the season to give us some deer for next year as well. So I'm going to break out the aerial, I'm going to draw on that and kind of show you some of those things that we did to this area. So you can see from the aerial right here, this area right here is pretty much a wetlands and CRP area. There's trees actually growing up here. The landowner planted some trees, and so the rows of trees kind of run in different directions like this. And we actually planted some beans right here, about a 1 acre bean plot right there with our tower blind right here on the actual south side of it. So we set that tower blind there just because of the northwest winds, the north winds that blow and blow it all towards the south, right? So that's the most predominant wind in the wintertime. So a standing crop of beans does work really well right here. One of the things that we did is we actually went in here in this big timber. This is all big timber back in here. And we actually hinged a bunch of trees. We actually took the chainsaws and tipped over a bunch of them. And so we kind of feathered this whole entire edge, and we feathered these edges in here to make the deer feel safe in there. And so it tipped those trees over while allowing them to continue to grow sideways. And it actually made a big screen for these deer so that there's lots of cover in there for them. Additionally, there was actually a big tree harvest back in here on the neighbors. And so they actually harvested a ton of trees back in here, and so that actually created a ton of bedding area into this area to the north. And so these deer are just, you know, kind of flocking out to these bean plots. And so I have a camera right back in here. And so there's a camera showing how the deer are actually walking right past that, and they're all headed to the beans. I also have a camera here and a camera on the corner of the beans as well, kind of pointing out into the bean plot, so that can kind of keep us up to date. Deer just really pour out of this area back in here. Back in here is where Caleb shot his the big 6, and so they just love to come out of here and come out here in the beans at night. And I think they continue on to bigger ag fields to the south later in the evening as well. So that's one of the things that makes this area really good is the edge feathering that we kind of did, along with the bedding, with the harvesting back in here, the bedding back in here. It all works out great because they have cover. They're really a couple jumps away from cover when they get out to the beans here. One of the areas we like to hunt is the big oak tree, which is right here, but there's also a creek that flows right behind it. And so when we park our truck up here, we actually walk down the road, kind of come across here, and then we actually walk right across the creek and then enter this plot from the south side. And so there's not a ton of deer bedding in these areas. This is more of a funnel, and so we can actually stay out of the bedding areas when we walk into this area, and we can actually enter the blind from the back side of it when we come on in. Again, not a ton of bedding area over here. Another thing is we don't leave any ground scent around the beans. So that actually works out really well to enter into that bean plot. So we put those beans in. Usually we like to put them in May. But obviously this year was a little bit late with the weather, so it was a late planting, but they actually turned out really well, and so we're really excited to get into that tower blind right there and hunt over those beans and hopefully get a 40-yard shot or under on those beans when the deer come out there this late season. So a good snow will really help us out, but we're hoping that they come for food late season here as well. So I hope that helped. Edge feathering was really key, we feel like, to creating bedding area, along with that tree harvest. That obviously created tons of bedding area from those treetops being in there. And then obviously a good solid entry route, as Bill talks about all the time. We can get in there and get out of there pretty much undetected because of the route that we choose to go in and crossing a creek and making sure that we're entering from a non-bedding area and not disturbing where the deer are coming from. So I hope that helped you out as far as like why we're hunting, where we're hunting this late season. So you'll see us in that blind quite a bit with the bow in hand, and I'm hoping that we get a chance to see a nice deer that comes out if the weather cooperates and we get the snow that we need. So typically that's where they'll find themselves during the late season, and like I said, I hope we're there when they show up. So lastly, just a couple deer that are showing up. Number one would be the short tine 10. He's actually pretty wide. He was around last year, and he's shown up again this year already. I'm hoping that he becomes more consistent on the plot as he's out there. There's a couple other deer that are showing up. There's a nice 10 out there as well that just showed up randomly in the funnel. I don't know who he is or where he came from. There's also a buck that's got some splits on him that's been showing up in that area. I'm hoping that he shows up as well. There's also a mature 8 that's in the area that he's shown up a couple times as well. And then of recently, there's a really short 3'd 8-pointer that's there as well. He's got a really big mature body, but kind of like the big 6. He's got big forks and just really short 3s on him. So there's a couple deer that will certainly entertain us and should keep us occupied for the late season. If not, we're pretty content as well. We had a pretty good season thus far. So here's the next week. Here's the next Monday. Season opening it up back up again for us during the late season, and it's been a long couple weeks sit here since we shot our deer, but certainly a satisfying one. Enjoying the time that we've had in the woods. So hopefully this helps you. Thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail with Outreach Outdoors, and we'll see you back next week right around Christmas time. So have a great week, everyone.